Hi, I'm Melissa Breazeale from Greenville, South Carolina. Hello everyone and welcome back. It's been a minute. I know it has been a very long time since I've updated. I am currently in the process of rebranding, and right now I actually have two cameras going because I wanted to see which angle I like better. I think this is going to be the angle I go with. However, this camera over here has a boom mic, so we're going to use that audio. Let us get started. I reached out on Instagram and I asked you guys for questions, and I have in my cute little stocking here a bunch of questions. So I originally was going to use a goblet that I got at the SCA event, the Society for Creative Acronyms. That I went to this last weekend. Went to December 12th, December 11th, and I got this really cool goblet that jingles. But once I got all the questions in there, I realized I didn't have enough room. So I went to the dollar store and bought this stocking, which matches my pajamas. I was also going to change shirts, but I decided not to, so let's get going. In my stocking, oh, there it goes, cotton flying off. All right. Jingle, jingle, jingle. All right, let's see here. First question. Wow. All right. What are you working on? So right now I am in the process of doing auditions. I just finished in November. I finished doing costume design for USC Upstate. For their production of Sweat, which was really cool. With that, I got to do makeup and tattoos. So that was very interesting. There might be an opportunity in February for me to do some special effects makeup with USC Upstate for their Voices to Hear series, which focuses on the play focuses on a disabled vet who has been burnt in combat, and that is Tanker's in the background. Tanker, come here! Come here! He's okay. Come here, buddy. Come here. He's like, no. But I am in the process of doing auditions, and hopefully 2022 will be the year that we book really big. So I'm working on some stuff. We're doing some, hi, buddy. You're like, no. Come here. Come here. Hopefully we will book some stuff. This year, not being as prepared as I would like to have been, I was like, this is going to be, this 2021, my focus was trying to get an agent, which I did. Thank you, Fastlane Talent, for being my representation. So 2022, I'm hoping that we can book some projects, some big projects. And then I'm also working on rebranding all my social media and being more active, more interactive, more engaging with social media. So that is what I'm working on in 2022. All right, let's see here. There are a lot of questions, so I apologize. This video is probably going to be a little long. This one is tips to maintain a skincare routine. So I am both, It's not that I'm not good at it, at maintaining a skincare routine, because I have a little bit of a skincare routine. It's just some days I'm like, and some days I'm like, yes, it's a self-care thing. It's very much something that, and there goes the dog again. It's something that I focus on when I need to focus on it. My brain sometimes is like, it's like, I don't know if you see noodles on TikTok, but some days I'm like, it's not gonna happen. One thing hi Tankers, you gonna come here? Come here. Come here. Yeah, hi baby. I will say that as far as skincare goes, always have a moisturizer. When you get up in the morning, because you know how you brush your teeth every morning, you brush your hair every morning. Tank's getting in all my frames. Hi, buddy. Yeah, that's a camera. When you're doing those things, use a moisturize. When you go to bed at night, you brush your hair. You can do a night cream. Also, a big part of skincare, and this is something that I am working on, is hydration. You have to stay hydrated. So, water. Drinking water is going to be amazing for your skin because it keeps you hydrated. So, water, a moisturizer in the morning, and always clean your face at the end of the night. Sometimes but it's something, again, I'm working on. So, yeah, so put it into your routine, make it something that you do. Then, every now and then reward yourself with a face mask or something. All right, next question. This one's a big one. What's it like getting involved with the entertainment industry? So this year like I said, this year I wasn't as prepared as I had hoped I would have been, getting into the business. I had planned, like I sit down in one of my classes last semester for my degree, which was audition techniques. And it was, kind of teaching you how to audition. And we talked a little bit about life after, what happens in like self-tape auditions, what happens in an audition room, readers, things like that. So for all the knowledge that I had, I didn't have a set plan. That is something that I'm working on. Like I said, getting involved in this industry, my goal for this year, 2021, was to get an agent. And that has been, it was terrifying because there's always I reached out to 6 or 7 different agencies, after graduation. I got rejected from one. I didn't hear back from a lot of them. And then I got accepted, and represented by Fast Lanes. So that experience, it's a lot of like waiting to hear back from an audition, whether or not you got it or not, or, if you got a call back. So these are all things that are kind of, it's very interesting to be a part of. Yeah, it's a thrill and it's nerve-wracking, but I absolutely love doing what I do. All right. Next question. What's the best thing about theater? I love being involved in theater. The best thing about theater is the relationships you make within the theater, the friendships you develop, the silliness that kind of happens backstage. There's a creator on TikTok who shows like what's happening on stage, and then in the wings that you see like the ensemble dancing and like twerking and stuff. That actually happens. It legit happens. There have been plenty of times when, because the thing about theater and the thing about acting is a lot of times, less so with theater, but a lot of times with acting, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So you hurry up to get there. You hurry up to get in hair and makeup. You hurry up to get prepared. And then there's a lot of waiting. you're waiting for the shot to get lined up. You're waiting for the action. You're waiting for your scene. Depending on your part in the theater, your part in a play or a musical, there's a lot of that going on as well. There have been times where I've had 5 scenes in the entire play, and it's a 2.5 hour play. So you're just kind of standing around and you're waiting. So it's the degree too. It depends on how comfortable you are. But there have been times when I've literally looked across the stage and saw like one of my scene partners, and we'll just be, you know, making faces, or, you know, we'll, you know. But the best thing about theater is the interaction. And I love doing theater because no show is the same. Every show is written, you're following one script, but you might discover something one night that wasn't there the night before. So the experience that the audience gets is different than the experience the audience the night before gets. Or, you know, there have been incidents where lines get messed up. So that audience gets a different experience than the audience that got the show where everything kind of went smoothly. So every show might be written the same, but you find moments, and there are deliveries and ways that people do things that change a show. So no show is ever exactly the same as the show before or the show after. All right, next question. Shake, shake, shake. Okay, this one's a big one. What's your favorite thing about the entertainment industry? Again, it kind of goes back to what I just said with theater. You meet interesting people. You meet a lot of people who inspire you, or that give you advice that, you know, kind of help guide you. I know that one of the coolest things thus far for me is talking to actors who have been in this industry for years and years. People like Allison Munn, who I had the amazing opportunity in my audition class to speak to and to pick her brain a little bit. Or Lana Young, who has done so much, and get her advice on self-tapes and what to do and how to do sightlines and things like that. It's the people you meet in this industry who help you and guide you, and you create these relationships and networking. And I like being able to, for me, it's about, I want to inspire someone who maybe I didn't have someone like me growing up watching on TV. There weren't girls who were bigger on television. We're seeing that a little more now. There's a little more inclusivity, but a lot of the time, those stories focus on weight loss or changing one's appearance to fit into the normal, society norms. And for me, what I want to do is I want a little girl like my nieces to look on TV and say, hey, that's someone who looks like me. I could do that. Because a lot of time growing up, I was told, you know, oh, you'll never be an actress. You're not industry standard. So that's probably one of my favorite things about being in the industry. My favorite thing about the industry is the people you meet and the people who inspire you. So yeah, let's see. Next question. I'm gonna reach down in here and pull out. What are your travel plans for 2022? Right now, they are very scarce. Because of the nature of the business, where I don't know if I'm going to book or not. It's really, really hard to make plans to travel. I know Jeff and I have talked about going to the Highland Games here in Greenville, and the Highland Games in North Carolina at Grandfather Mountain. For those of you who watch Outlander, there was the episode, I don't remember if it's season 2 or 3, I think, where Roger and Bree go to the Highland Games. That takes place on Grandfather Mountain in North Carolina. It wasn't actually filmed there that I know of, but they have the Highland Games, and both my husband and I are of Scottish descent, so that's really cool, because we're trying to learn a little bit more about our cultures, about our ancestors and the places that they lived. So for us, Scotland is one that we share in common. So that's one that we are looking forward to doing. So we had also talked about going to Boston around our anniversary in October. That would be really cool because it's around, October, Halloween. Boston is not that far from Salem. We could do Salem. Salem and Halloween's yeah. So, but I don't know what our travel plans are for certain. Again, with the nature of the business and auditions and booking and things like that, I don't know where I'm going to be at certain points. All right. I'm going to pause for a second because the dog wants to go to the bathroom. So let's do that. So cute. All right, we're back. Let's go again, shall we? All right. Best thing about Charleston. So this is Charleston, South Carolina, not West Virginia or any of the other ones. Charleston, South Carolina, which is near and dear to my precious little heart. Best thing about Charleston. I love the architecture in Charleston. There are so many cool buildings, not necessarily like plantations, but there are some amazingly beautiful buildings, especially like downtown, and churches. Oh my God, churches have some of the best architecture. And then, of course, my favorite place in Charleston is, of course, the old city jail, and just again, the architecture and the sense and the feel of the city. That, I think, is something I absolutely love. It's like taking a step back in time. So that is probably one of my favorite things about Charleston. Next question. Would you ever start a podcast? Yes. Short answer, yes. Jeff and I, my husband and I, have played with the idea to the point where we actually bought microphones for a podcast. But with his work schedule and my school schedule and my theater schedule, it was a little bit impossible to do things with podcasts. However, we have discussed doing like a history podcast, talking about things that interest us about history, even like weird history and things like that. So that is something that, because that's something that overcrossed, and geeky things like Marvel and Star Wars and Harry Potter, and you get the idea. So yeah, that's something that we've talked about. So it's a possibility. All right, next question. Top 5 ghost stories ghost / paranormal experiences I've had. So if anybody has watched the Fabled Court October Change and Chill, I spoke about an experience I had in Charleston. I've had a couple experiences in Charleston. When I was there in 2003, 4, a friend and I did a ghost tour, and we were sitting across from the courthouse, and I felt a tightening I felt like my throat was tightening, and it was the story of Lavinia Fisher. That's a whole nother video. And it was about, they were talking about her being hanged, and I looked up and saw the lady in white in one of the windows. That's one of my experiences that I absolutely love. My dad and I did another ghost tour, and this one was with Bulldogs. The other one was with a different company. My dad and I did the Bulldogs tour. And it was the Ghost and Graveyard tour. We were going through, they took us through the front gate at the circular church, which the reason that it's circular is because the devil hides in corners. If it's circular, the devil has nowhere to hide. We get past one of the doors, and you hear a bolt, like a dead bolt lock, like a heavy lock locking in place. My dad, who was not necessarily a believer, that sort of thing, stopped. He looked at me. He goes, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Yes, I heard that." So that's another experience that I got to share with my dad. So that was really cool. Another one, again in Charleston. I was 16, 17. We went on a trip with a friend of ours, and me and her did a ghost tour. Again, a different company. I don't remember which one, but it was they took us down behind the Dock Street Theater, and they were, at the time, the theater wasn't open. But me and her could hear voices inside the theater. And I asked, I said, "Is the theater in use right now?" And the guide said, "No, it is closed. They are doing renovations, but the crew has left for the day." And that right there, that was like, whoa. When I was doing paranormal investigations with the group that I was the head of, we did the old children's graveyard in Greenville. We were doing an investigation. We were cleaning up. It was at night, but or right around dusk. So we were kind of picking up some trash because it was in the woods, kind of forgotten. And I felt a push on my back, and I stumbled forward. I was by myself. And then I felt my leg get grabbed, and I got pulled down to the ground. That was one of the more scarier ones. I wasn't like terrified, but it startled me a little bit. And then the last one was doing an investigation at a place that I grew up around, that I frequented a lot. We were invited in by the business owner's grandson to do an investigation. We did like 3 or 4 there. And I was downstairs while we kind of split up. It was a dance hall. And we kind of split up, and they were kind of in the back upstairs, and I was down in the main barn part. And I saw a woman in black, and she just kind of looked at me, and I looked at her, and then she was gone. So that's kind of my top 5 experiences as far as paranormal goes. I would love to have more. There are so many places on my bucket list that oh, I should have done that one. All right, honorable mention. Jeff and I did the Old City Jail in Charleston. Again, I love this place. And we did a midnight tour. And we had some of our gear with us because, why not? And the tour guide was really, really cool, Karen. And she let us do a investigation, a mini investigation. We had all of our equipment. And I snapped a photo, and it's on an old hard drive that's in storage somewhere at the house. And there's a picture of the jail cell. And Jeff is standing inside of it. I took the photo, and you can see him. He's standing here, and then you can see a silhouette, and like a train of a gown beside him. And that was really cool. That was, I love the old city jail. Again, that's an entirely different video. All right, next question. Favorite Hamilton character. All right, so my favorite Hamilton, I have two. Thinking that over. Two, yeah, I have two. Okay, one is, of course, Angelica Schuyler. Love Angelica Schuyler. But the second is Peggy Schuyler. I love Peggy's, and I love the way that Jasmine portrayed her. It's just, so those are my two. Next question. When is Harold going to release Medicine as a single? Hannah, I wish I knew. Okay, I wish I knew. Okay, I am still waiting on it too. I don't have him on my phone. I don't know how to get in touch with him to be like, but he's heard it. He's heard that we want Medicine as a single. He just doesn't want to do it. All right. Next question. Hopefully for Christmas. Maybe we'll get it for Christmas. Just like we're still waiting on the One Direction reunion tour for Christmas. All right. If you could work with one actor, who would it be? This is a very tricky question. I have a couple. Right now, because I absolutely love her, and I love everything I've seen her in, Florence Pugh. She is I would love to have her play like my little sister in like a movie. Sorry. It's a certain time. It does that every hour in the hour. So Florence Pugh, Jeremy Renner has always been one of my favorites. I remember, what was the first thing I saw him in? I remember when he did Pink's Trouble video, and he played Jeffrey Dahmer. That was the first thing I think I saw him in. Maybe. Oh my God. Anyways, so I saw it. So Jeremy Renner has always been one. Florence Pugh. My alarm went off and that stopped the video, but I am back. So yeah, Florence Pugh, Jeremy Renner, James Marsters, David Tennant would be really cool to work with, Emma Watson. So there's like a list. There is a list. Yeah. All right, next question. Top 10 places you have to visit in England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. So I have never been outside of the United States. I have a passport, but I have never been outside the United States. So these are kind of 10 places I'd like to visit. One being the Tower of London, but not like... Okay, so Tower of London, but there's a reason I had ancestors who were executed at the tower. So I'd like to go and be like, you know, here you go. I know you were executed for treason, but flowers. At the same time, in Scotland, there are several places. I want to go to Edinburgh because, again, family history. I know Tulloch Castle and the Highlands is on the list. I've always wanted to go to Manchester. That's on the list. That's where some of my husband's people are originally from, the Manchester area. So that's really cool. Cardiff, Cork. I want to go to Bellin-na-Blah. I probably mispronounced that, but it's the place where Michael Collins was assassinated. There's a beautiful cross there, and I've always wanted to go there. Otley Hall is one of the places I want to go. The reason why I want to go there is a portrait of the wedding day of Ursula and of Ursula Naughton, who is my great grandmother. And that was their home. I'm trying to think. Dover is the one place I would love to go. There's so many. Like I've already lost count. I don't know how many I gave you, but that's a few. Bath. I'd like to go to Bath just to see the Roman baths. So Next question. I don't know if that was 10 or not, but that felt like a good many. All right. Best part about designing costumes. All right, so costume design is something that I absolutely love. They tell you in theater that if you are going to be in theater, it is not enough to be an actor. You must also do something tech-wise. So for me, tech-wise is costumes, hair, and makeup. It's what I'm good at. And there goes the dog. So, I don't know what he's barking. I like being... Take her! Okay. Tank! I'm trying to do a video here, bud. I will... Give me a minute. Be right back. I don't know what's wrong with this dog. Oh, my dad's home. That's what's wrong with the dog. All right, I'll be back. False alarm. It wasn't my dad. It was the neighbors, and the dog decided he wanted to go outside again. Costumes. What I like about doing costumes is being able to help shape a show. But not only that, like I've had costumes that I've been in that are absolutely uncomfortable. I know that that's like something that you're gonna have to deal with as an actor. Sometimes you're not comfortable. But for me as a costume designer, I like being able to not only help shape a show, but make sure the actors are comfortable and feel like they can embody the character. Nothing sucks worse than getting a costume and it kind of making you feel not the character. So I like to work with my actors. I like to work with the director. I like to work with anybody who's involved and be like, okay, so this is the vision I have. How do you feel your character would walk? How do you feel your character would sit? How do you feel, like, tell me how you think your character shapes, what you think your character would wear. Are they wearing band tees? If so, what bands are they wearing? Are they, do they like skirts? Do they like dresses? Are they flats or heels or, things like that? I want to know how that doesn't necessarily mean my design changes, but a lot of the time I try to work with people to get a cohesive, collective, collaborative idea of what a character looks like. So that is one thing I do love about doing costumes is shaping a show and helping an actor feel comfortable and feel like they have embodied their character. All right, next question. Top 5 songs from Hamilton. Okay, Hannah, listen here. I know I know my niece submitted this and she submits any question about Charleston, my niece just submitted. So my actual favorite song in Hamilton is not in Hamilton. My favorite song for Hamilton was cut, and that is Congratulations. So that's going to be one of my top 5. The World Was Enough. Battle of Yorktown. Guns and Ships. I love Guns and Ships. The Reynolds Pamphlet. Those are my top 5. Those are my top 5. If I can't count Congratulations, it's going to be Schuyler Sisters. So, next question. Would you rather spend a week in London or a week in Charleston? Since I have spent time in Charleston, I'm going to say London. I'd love to spend a week in London and see what London has to offer, to go hit West End, to go to a Tesco's, to embrace embed myself into the culture of London. That would be really cool. And to see all the historic places and all the historic buildings and to, do things like that I don't get to do here in South Carolina. All right, next question. What's your go-to comfy outfit? Well, my friends, I am in it. It is a t-shirt and my favorite pajama bottoms that I've had for a couple years. We all got matching pajamas in 2018, which was one of my 2018, 2019, buddy? 2018? Talking to the dog. When did we get matching pajamas? You don't remember? Okay, anyways. We got matching pajamas. It might be 2019. It was something my mom wanted to do. So we all have had matching pajamas. Since then, I have gotten my dad has given me his pajama pants. I have mine, and then my husband has a pair as well. So that's, or my pair of gray sweatpants. There's like my two comfies. All right, next question. What's been your go-to playlist the past few days? So I have a Celtic Christmas playlist that I listen to, and it is, that's been like trying to get myself into the Christmas spirit. It does not feel like Christmas. It's supposed to be 70 degrees this week here in South Carolina in December, in the middle of December, which just, so it doesn't feel like Christmas to me. So I've been trying to do that. As you see the Christmas tree behind me. Again, I'm not at my house. I'm at my dad's. I'm dog sitting. My Christmas tree is not up because it's in storage, and I did not feel like digging it out when I had to put this one up and put all the decorations on it. So yeah, I've been listening to a Celtic Christmas playlist that I created. If not that, then my nostalgia playlist, which has a lot of songs from the late 90s, early 2000s. Next question. Do you think you would still love Charleston if it didn't have all the history? Yeah, I do. There's a lot of architecture, and there's a lot of beauty to the city. The buildings, the parks, not necessarily the history of it, but there are a lot of beautiful things. Beautiful cathedral. There's a beautiful cathedral. There's beauty even in some of the macabre things, like the graveyards. Magnolia Cemetery is one of the most beautiful cemeteries that I've ever been to. So I think that adds to the value of a place. Not just the history, but the sites that surround it. So yes, I would still love Charleston even if it didn't have all the history. Next question. What is your go-to Broadway soundtrack for the car? Well, when T and I went to Atlanta, we listened to Rent and One Direction. One Direction's not Broadway, but we listened to Rent. Hamilton, I think we listened to Hamilton. When Jordan and I went to Kentucky, we listened to Heathers and Avenue Q. And Six is one of my favorites. But I also have a playlist of Broadway songs. Newsies is another. I forgot Newsies. But Addams Family. See, they're just, but I have a playlist of Broadway songs that I actually listen to in the car to get kind of warmed up for performances. I also do it in the shower because it's my shower playlist. But it has things from like Mean Girls and Heathers and Something Rotten, Newsies, Jagged Little Pill. There's some Julie and the Phantoms, even though that's not Broadway, but there's some of that on there. Six is on there. There's a lot. Addams Family, yeah. Cinderella, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella, that's on there as well. So yeah, I listen to a bunch of. I have so many. It's not even funny. All right. Rank the Harry Potter films from my favorite to my least favorite. Okay, first off, favorite is going to be Half-Blood Prince. And I can tell you right now, my least favorite is... Okay, favorite. Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, and then Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix is going to be my least favorite, and then Goblet of Fire is my next to least favorite. But yeah, that's my ranking of Harry Potter All right, next. What Broadway soundtrack do I need to listen to? If you haven't listened to Six, listen to Six. I know you have, Hannah. Again, I know that was from my niece. Newsies is really good. Avenue Q is really, I mean, it's Sesame Street for adults. But it's, I mean, let's see. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella has a couple of good things on it. I'm not a big Andrew Lloyd Webber fan, but Les Mis. I know that Rent, Tick Tick Boom. If you haven't listened to Tick Tick Boom, and that's not just because Tick Tick Boom just came out on Netflix. Green Dress is one of my favorites, and they cut it from the film. So, all right, let's see here. Next question. How do you deal with rejection? So my answer to this question has changed drastically over the last 6-7 years. The first play I auditioned for was Rumors at Greenville Tech when I first started back in my education. I did not get cast for that. And I remember the cast list going up and I cried. And my husband goes, look, I was like, no. You're the one that said you need to audition or you never need, you need to audition or we're not, don't. He was basically said, audition and see what happens or don't talk about it ever again. Because I was back and forth. He's like, you've always wanted to do this, so either do it or don't. But my husband is one of the most supportive people in the entire world when it comes to my acting career. So I got the cast list notice went out. I didn't get anything, so I cried. And I was like, no, respect the process. I have to mourn that I did not get a part. Since then, though, I've been a lot more chill. Because the way I've learned to look at things is, for instance, I recently had an audition and I got put on hold for it for a show. And basically, I got a right of first refusal, which means that the studio put me on hold, and then they were deciding between me and however many other actors for this one role. And then I got an email saying, you got released from your hold. I didn't get the part. And I was like, I really want this part. And then I got that. And I was like, at the same time though, while I was on hold for that, another, a film audition came for me to do. And the dates were the same. Like it was the same kind of range for the dates. And I was like, but if I get the show, I might not be able to do the film because when I didn't, and I was like, you know what? What's gonna happen is gonna happen. They're either gonna say, yes, we want you for the TV show, or no. That's all there is to it. It's gonna be yes or no. If it's no, that means that there are more opportunities, that there are other things that I can pursue. So that's kind of how I look at rejection. If I get rejected, it's not that I'm not good enough, it's that somebody was better than me. So, for instance, I've done a lot of auditions the last quarter of 2021. And for some things that I didn't get, I can go on IMDb and see who got it. And then I can see, okay, that's what they were looking for. Maybe I didn't fit what they were looking for, or okay, I see why they got that part, because they're this or they're that, or they did this better than I did. So that's how I look at rejection now, as a learning experience versus they didn't like me. Because it's not necessarily that they didn't like me. If I get an audition, it means they've seen something in my headshot or in my reel that they were like, God, we want this person. We want to see her audition with this material. So that's how I look at things now. I don't look at it as, oh, they don't like me, boo-hoo, woe is me. I look at it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, both as a person and as an actor. So that's how I deal with rejection. I don't eat my feelings now. I see what I can do better, and I learn from that. All right, next question. What is your favorite monologue to perform? So monologues are kind of put into different categories. You have contemporary, you have classical, you have comedic, you have dramatic. I have a really modern comedic, or a modern, well, it's more dramatic. A modern dramatic that I do. That is from Good People by David Lindsay Bear. Yeah, I think. I know it's okay. Anyways, so I have a dramatic modern that I used it for when I auditioned for Sweat. That I do, and yeah. Lindsay, the name's right there on the tip of my tongue, and I know it's that, but I don't know it's that. And then that's one of my moderns. I also have one from August Osage County that I do. I have one, but this one terrified me when I first got this. So I took classical styles in 2018, somewhere in there. I don't remember. I took classical styles at USC Upstate in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is where I got my degrees from. And we had to do Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. But the one that I was terrified of, I got. And that's Lady M from the Scottish play, because I felt it was really, really heavy. But it is one of my favorite monologues. Come you spirits who tend on mortal flesh, unsex me here. That monologue, I love that monologue. Because you can do so much. And I love the way people play her. I chose not to play her as this manipulative, conniving, that most people play her as. But as someone who, in that moment, she's very vulnerable. She knows what she's about to do. She's about to invite in this evil, almost, this entity to give her the strength to do what she needs to do, as dictated in her birthright. And when I did that, since I have done that, I have done a lot more in my family history, and there's a connection between my family history and that play. More importantly, Duncan. There's family history there. So doing that, it's now, I love doing that because it's a challenge. It really is a challenge to take that into myself and to be vulnerable and to be terrified and to know that what she's about to do is something that goes against every fiber of her being. So yeah, that's one of my favorite monologues to perform. All right, next question. What are some Disney classics that should be made into live action remakes? All right, I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I want to see Hercules. I want to see, I'd love to see Atlantis with Tom Holland as Milo. Oh my God. And I know we're getting a Snow White. I know we're getting a Little Mermaid. So yeah, I think I'm trying to think of like classics. We've had a Peter Pan, we've had Cinderella, we've had Maleficent, Cruella got kind of a, but yeah, I think those are my two, Atlantis and Hercules. Next. What is the most challenging role you have had and how did you overcome it? I've had a couple roles that were kind of challenging. Not necessarily on stage, but in like directing projects and things like that. When we did Stop Loss, which is a really interesting play, I had to do double duty as the nurse and Miss Winsley, and that was a little difficult for me. As was Anonymous, come to think of it, playing Helen and then playing ensemble roles and kind of trying to differ them so that they're not all the same. And I know with Miss Winsley and Nurse, Miss Winsley, the decision I made was where the nurse is empathetic and caring and sympathetic to what is happening, Miss Winsley is that character on Law and Order that saw what happened, didn't really want to see what happened, but had an obligation because it was happening in her neighborhood to call. And then to get over the fact that she saw something traumatic, she starts drinking. That's where I went. Like and there's, for anybody that saw Stop Loss at USC Upstate, directed by JJ Wayne, there's a scene where I'm meeting with the main character at a cafe, and I had a flask that had water in it, but I had a coffee cup, and before she gets there, I open the flask and pour a little bit of the alcohol into my coffee cup, and I'm going to take a sip of it when she gets there, and so that's how she copes with things. For Anonymous, it was playing Helen was easy. I got to be like, she was like over the top, and I'm not going to compare it to political figures, but that's what it was. She was the wife of a political figure, and she was like over the top and kind of insensitive to what was going on. Very much a Karen. And so like that was easy to play that part because it's so unlike me that I like playing parts that aren't like me. I like playing the bad guy. I like playing the part that's like, but it was the trying to make sure that all my other parts were different so that people weren't like, oh, okay, that's Helen, another, not so much a difficult role, but a difficult, production was we did Theater Dionysus, which was a senior project, a directing project, where we told stories from Greek, Shakespeare, and Moliere. We did Antigone, Romeo and Juliet, and Tartuffe. And I was nurse for Romeo and Juliet, but I was also the narrator. And getting narration up until 2 days before we opened, that was difficult to make sure. And I was like, okay, because I'm the kind of person that I want to try to get as word perfect as possible. And trying to learn and memorize and learn lines and blocking and making sure you got everything 2 days before is kind of difficult, but it worked and it was really, really good. So that's kind of, yeah. All right. Next question. Where have I been? Audie, I know that I have not been on. I have been doing auditions and, self-tapes, and as you can tell, I'm dog sitting for my dad. And I'm going to be honest, my mental health has not been the greatest. It's that time of year. This is my second year without my mom. So that's kind of taken a lot out of me as well. This year has been a lot emotionally for me, and I'm trying to deal with that also, to the point where I'm looking actually for therapy. That's something I've never done before. I've never gone to a therapist. I had like therapy, not like therapy, but like, where I would go and like get help with my ADD stuff when I was younger. But that's something that hasn't really happened lately. So I'm working on that. I'm working on myself, my mental health, trying to make sure I'm taking care of myself, because this, like I said, this industry can take a lot out of you. And I've been filming auditions and self-tapes and trying to get everything put together and keep myself together. And yeah, life, man, life. All right, next question. If you could see one show in the winter season, what would it be? Well, I have yet to see Hamilton in person. That is one that I would love to see. I would love to see 6, actually. I'm going to change my answer. I would love to see 6 because, yes, Queens. Plus, I love history, so 6. Yeah, 6. We're going to say 6. Let's see here. How many questions do I have left? I have 3 questions left. All right, let's see here. What we got here? What's the process like to get into a role when you're performing? Okay, so there are several steps to getting into a role. For me anyways, every actor is different. This is how I work. As soon as I can, I start to use costume pieces, even if it's just the shoes I'm going to wear in a performance, because that will dictate how I walk as a character. So for How to Succeed, I had on my character shoes. And the way that I walk in my character shoes is different than the way I walk every day, because there's the heel. But also I started thinking about what my character, who I named Peggy, how does Peggy walk? Well, Peggy kind of walks a little straighter. She kind of, flounces a little bit, and she doesn't slouch. She presents herself. So that I start with the shoes. The shoes is kind of where I start. And learning the lines and mannerisms, and well, okay, does this person have any nervous tics? Does this person twirl her hair? Does this person have a certain way they laugh? Is there a way that they shake hands? Things like that. You think about the character and how all that comes together. But for me, shoes is definitely a starting point. When I did Anfisa, I knew I was going to be a flats, because Anfisa's old. Anfisa has been taking care of kids since she was 18, if not younger. She has, she's not gonna be up proper. She's gonna be all, she's gonna slouch a little bit because she's old. She's gonna move a little slower. She's gonna have a little bit of perhaps she has a little limp. And then the thing that really helps me get into a role, it doesn't matter how much I know my lines, I know my blocking. Yes, I'm in the shoes. But when I get into the hair and the makeup and the costume, that's when a role really starts to become fully developed. So as soon as I can get into pieces, that's how I work a role. But again, every actor is different. The next question. What has been your favorite role that you have played. Okay, so I know that I give crap about doing this play 3 years in a row, but I absolutely loved playing Charwoman at Greenville Tech in A Christmas Carol. I love that role because it is so unlike me. She is gritty, she's dirty, she's kind of a villain in her own way, and I loved that. At Upstate, I loved being Mrs. Overdone. I love being Mistress Overdone in Measure for Measure because, again, it's one of those characters that's over the top, and she's out there, she's big, she's bold, she's overdone. She's extra, and I loved that. That was one of my favorite roles to play at Upstate. Last question. Are you making New Year's resolutions? And if so, what is one? I do not make New Year's resolutions anymore. I used to make them every year, and every year I never did them. Now what I do is, instead of making resolutions, like saying, I'm going to work out every day. I now set goals. I want to be more active. Instead of saying, I'm going to lose weight, I would like to live a healthier lifestyle. I would like to make better choices. I would like to hydrate more, take better care of my skin, things like that. I make goals versus resolutions. Resolutions are easy to break. Goals give you something to work for. So that is my Q&A. We are completely out of questions, out of my stuck. That was, so I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope that you have had an amazing holiday season, and I hope that you have a wonderful New Year's Eve, and I hope that 2022 is better than 2021 and 2020 has been, and that all your hopes and your goals and your dreams come to some kind of conclusion, come to being. I'm throwing positivity out there. There will be more things on this channel moving forward. I am working with some really cool people to get that going. My social media, my TikTok, there will be things throughout the year here on this channel. And again, I just want to thank you guys for joining me for my Q&A. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. A wonderful New Year's Eve. Please be safe. If you are going to be drinking, please, please, please have a designated driver. Stay safe, and I will see you all in 2022. Thank you guys.